We appreciate your support year in, year out. And so, we want to hear from our title sponsors to give our keynote speech. Welcome with me Mr. Tim Harrison, the Managing Director of Ionic Rare Earths, while he comes to give a keynote speech. Give him a hand while he comes.
Thank you. Honourable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for enabling Ionic Rare Earths and Rwenzori Rare Metals to participate in this conference. This is the first time I've been able to attend the conference in person. So I've done a couple of times now remotely, unable to attend last year, but very proud to be participating this time round. Presentation. So, just wait for the presentation to come up. With Ionic Rare Earths, we are a major shareholder in Rwenzori Rare Metals. We own 60% of Rwenzori, and working very closely with our partners and a great team of Ugandans at Rwenzori Rare Metals, developing the Makuutu Rare Earth Project. The strategy for Ionic Rare Earths is to develop both primary and secondary supply of magnet and heavy rare earths to enable advanced manufacturing, so the energy transition, communications, military and defence for the new economy. One of the things that we do see is specifically with rare earths is a tremendous appetite and geopolitical tensions driving the development of new mines, new processing, new supply chains to emerge for these incredibly important critical raw materials that go into, the development of electric vehicles and offshore wind turbines, for example. So they are incredibly important enablers of developing the net zero energy transition opportunity to support global governments' quest and policy to develop net zero targets or to meet net zero targets. What we do see from a geopolitical perspective, and what's incredibly interesting for a lot of companies globally and potentially enables a very big role for Africa to play, is these geopolitical tensions driving policy specifically around investing in new mining, new processing, new supply chains to emerge for critical raw materials. So with as example, the Critical Raw Materials Act, and a little bit further to that, the race is on, quoting the European Commission President, it is a race. There is a competitive environment right now for the development of specifically battery raw materials and rare earths, because these are materials that are in increasingly more demand relative to the supply that exists today. That creates a golden opportunity for Uganda to be at the leading edge of providing new, secure supply chains for these materials. One of these materials is what we have at Makuutu, rare earths. And not just any rare earths, these are magnet and heavy rare earths. These are materials that are difficult to find, but as the world starts to look for new supplies, new jurisdictions do emerge. So if we look at the European Critical Raw Material Act and the role that we potentially see for the development of Makuutu fitting into that, there isn't a demand that's emerging from Europe. They want to have 40% of their materials coming from domestic supply chains through processing and recycling. That creates an opportunity to help the development of a project like Makuutu in Uganda. And one of the areas where we're focusing. Other areas include the US, Korea and Japan, where similarly their advanced manufacturing industries create a demand for this material, and through that demand offers a great opportunity for Uganda to leverage the supply into long-term meaningful relationships. A little bit more about what rare earths are. And I'm not sure how many of you have studied chemistry at school, but down the bottom of the periodic table, you've got the lanthanide series. So from lanthanum to lutetium, plus scandium and yttrium, these are the elements that enable the development of advanced technology. A little bit more detail, and where the real demand is in the rare earth space right now, is those magnet rare earths. They are the elements highlighted in red. They have probably the most complicated names. So neodymium, praseodymium, dysprosium and terbium are elements that go into the manufacture of permanent magnets. Now these are the most powerful, most efficient magnets that are known to society today in advanced manufacturing applications. At the moment, this is a market that is completely controlled by the existing Chinese supply chain, and as a result, there is an appetite and an interest from Western governments to stimulate new supplies, to stimulate new processing, metal, alloy, magnet manufacturing in order to provide the products to enable electric vehicles and offshore wind. These four elements form what is now called a strategic raw material class. So again, we've got critical raw materials, and then we've got the next level up being strategic raw materials. So these are important, and they're going to be very important in the energy transition. A little bit more about the basket at Makuutu. So Makuutu is a balanced basket of both magnet and heavy rare earths. So that creates a wide number of different applications and industries that could be enabled through the development of this project. But again, if we focus on those four magnet rare earths, they make up potentially about 85% of the revenue of the Makuutu project. So this is a project that's going to be driven by advanced manufacturing, specifically aligned to the development of offshore wind and electric vehicles. This table here provides an indication of the number of other ionic adsorption clays, which is the type of mineralisation at Makuutu. What Makuutu has is an advantage. Its advantage is its time, the work that was started on this project over 10 years ago. But as the world is looking for new supplies, new provinces are emerging. So Makuutu's advantage is, that time advantage is being eaten into by delays. So it's something that we need to be mindful of as we develop projects, in that we it is a race. It is competitive for capital. It is competitive on time. So we can't dawdle, and we need to make sure that we continue to work to the program to get Makuutu into production. Where do we see the benefits for Uganda with the development of the project? So obviously direct investment, and we've seen that to date. I think collectively with Renzori Rare Metals over the last decade, there's been approximately $20 million invested in the project. So that's sustained investment, which has ramped up over the last few years, and we can see it in the community. We've just been out on site, we've gone and witnessed the demonstration plant that we're building at Makuutu now, land access agreements, and our country manager will talk about that a bit later on. But we can see the direct impact of our investment in our local stakeholders, and it's very proud to see the benefit that we're having. On the community engagement, we continue to work through the land access agreements. We had our hearings and our NEMA certificate of environmental permits provided last year. So we've been very proactive in engaging with the Ugandan community, from our local stakeholders all the way through to government representatives, some of whom are here today. Creation of jobs. At the moment, we're an employer, we employ about 80 people here in Uganda. But importantly and quite impressively, catching up with the team last week, seeing the number of females in the team is very significant, and I commented that it was very great to see such a balanced demographic in our workforce. The development of the project needs to be done in a sustainable way. We're going to be producing the elements and the critical raw materials which are going to the development of renewable energy. Therefore, we have to do it in a sustainable manner. And that's why we've adopted the process design that we have and the environmental standards that we've employed from the outset. And part of the reason why we've had our NEMA environmental certification granted, and we continue to focus on this work. And beyond that, the development of the project, the mining, the processing of our mineralisation, turning an ionic adsorption clay to a value-added mixed rare earth carbonate in country that has a market where we can monetise the product and create jobs and long-term sustained investment for Makuutu over a long time, with the potential for further investigation of what can be done to further value add in country, are all things that are available to us, but we have to first build a mine. Touching upon the ESG aspects of the project, I mentioned the environmental permits we've had approved. You know, it's a low carbon footprint using renewable energy. Again, another key advantage of Uganda with its vast amounts of hydroelectric power. You know, it's got great infrastructure. We've looked at the rehabilitation of the project to align that to the Ugandan National Development Plan. We're working in the community to invest in our people, in the relationships, and we see the benefit with those strong relationships that have been built over the last 4 years, specifically through COVID, and continuing to build our team in country. You know, we work through our land access agreements. We acquired the land for our demonstration plant, and we're about 60% through acquiring the land now for the main mineral mining licence at Makuutu. On the demonstration plant, and it's quite an impressive sight to see. In 4 months, we've effectively built the technical facility from scratch. And that's a credit to the team here in Uganda, and you know, the availability and the competency of the resources that are available to us in Uganda, and our contractors and partners who we're working closely with. But in order to build a mine, we have to finance it. So the money's got to come from somewhere. And so everything we've been doing over the last 4 years is about addressing the de-risking of the project to be able to advance to the next stage. So as we move through the feasibility study we completed last year and an updated feasibility study next year, we continue to drill, expand the resource, de-risk the mineralisation ground, increase the classification and confidence on the mineral resource estimates. We work through a process of now looking for the funding. So, you know, funding will be made up of a number of different potential packets. You know, there's debt, which is potentially available to the project if we're able to develop and deliver the project in a satisfactory manner. Equity investment is potentially a role. Equity investment could come through strategic partnering. And again, the demonstration plant is incredibly important in demonstrating how we can produce a product at specification for a market and a supply chain that's looking to decouple from the existing supply chains that exist today. Offtake, the ability to pre-purchase, pre-sell, or to commit offtake with the strategic partner. So there are several aspects there that are important to us. But finally, government support. Development of rare earth supply chain typically are being underwritten by significant government investment from Europe, the US, Japan, Korea, aligned to producing the materials that they need for their advanced manufacturing. So it's incredibly important as we de-risk the project that we are looking at all of these avenues to finance the first stage of Makuutu, which we anticipate is going to be a long life project producing jobs, revenue, tax, royalties for the Ugandan population for a long time. So we've done a lot of work over the last 4 years, but we've still got a lot more work to do. And so over the next 12 months, you know, we're looking forward to the award of our mining licence. You know, we continue to drill, and we've recently completed a phase 5 drill program with a view to updating an exploration target later this year, a mineral resource estimate next year, you know, the demonstration plant operating at Makuutu, which provides a great platform for us to invite visitors to Uganda to see the way and the manner in which we propose developing Makutu, which again is a key step in de-risking this project. We're doing more engineering to de-risk the investment decision. Continuing to spend in our community, engaging. You know, we are ESG certified, and we continue to look at the mechanisms that we can adopt on the project to enhance our environmental, social and governance aspects of this project, looking to maximise Ugandan content in the development. Continuing to build our team, committing our product to an emerging supply chain, and that creating the opportunity for the strategic partner to come in. And beyond that, we have a large deposit at Makutu with the potential to make it larger. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I look forward to meeting as many of you as I can over the next 2 days. Thank you.